So factorizing is actually the opposite of expanding brackets. It allows us to write an expression as a product of its two factors. Now, the way we go about doing it is we want to identify a factor which is applicable to every single term within the expression. So for example, this example here, we have 2x plus 10. Now, for both 2x and 10, the only factor will be 2. So I can take 2 out by dividing 2 to each term. So we'll get 2 and then in brackets, x plus 5. For this one here, we have 3x squared plus 6x. For both terms, they have both factors of 3x. So taking 3x out, I'll be left with x plus 2. For this one here, we have 16x cubed y squared plus 20x squared y to the power 4. They both have a factor of 4, and they have x squared and y squared as well. So taking 4x squared y squared out, I'll be left with 4x plus 5y squared. Now, if you are dealt with this certain expression here, this is known as a quadratic expression. And for factorizing a quadratic expression, it has a very unique solution, and it's going to look like two brackets here, where it's going to be x plus d, x plus e, where d and e are just numbers. So the way we go about doing it is, the d and e values, if we multiply them together, they should be the same value as the c term in the quadratic expression. And the sum of d and e should be the same as b. So you have to identify two pairs of numbers which satisfies this solution. Let's go ahead and try an example. So for this x squared plus 6x plus 5, let's look at the c term here, 5. So two numbers which, when we multiply, will give us 5, or they could be 5 and 1 only. You can also be careful because there could also be 5 or negative 5 and negative 1, because when you multiply together, you get 5 as well. So there we have two different pairs. Now, with these pairs, we have to identify which one, when we sum up, will give us the b term, in this case 6. So it's going to be 5 plus 1, that's give us 6. So the solutions will be when d is 5 and e is 1. It doesn't matter which one, you can flip them around. So when we factorize this, we'll get x plus 5, x plus 1. Let's look at this example here. So x squared plus 8x plus 12. So looking at 12 first, we're to try and find pairs which will multiply to 12. So it could be 12 and 1, 4 and 3, 6 and 2. And also the negative versions. And now to find a pair which sums up to the b term 8, this is going to be the 6 and 2. So it's going to be x plus 6, x plus 2. This just gets easier and easier with time. So in the beginning, you might have to list it out, but you should be able to see it as you get more confident with these. Let's try one final one. So we get x squared minus 3x minus 10. So minus 10, I can have 10 times minus 1, 5 times minus 2. And you can also have the opposite sides. Now, to think of the pair which gives us minus 3 when we sum them up, and that's going to be this minus 5 plus 2, which is minus 3. So it's going to be x minus 5, x plus 2 as the factorized form. However, some quadratic expressions may be ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is also a number. In this case, what we have to do is find the multiple of a and c first, and then once again, find two numbers, a pair which multiplies to ac and sums up to b. The next step is to rewrite b as the sum of these two values, and then finally we have to factorize it. So it's 3 key steps. We'll look at an example to show why. So we have this 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. So first things first, we have to identify an AC term. So it's going to be 2 and minus 3, so we multiply them together. AC is negative 6, our b is 5. Now, like before, we find two pairs which will multiply to negative 6 and sum to 5. In this case, it's going to be 6 and minus 1. Now, I can rewrite the b term, 5x, as plus 6x minus x. So I can rewrite the original quadratic as 2x squared plus 6x minus 3. Now, finally, what we have to do is factorize each term. So combining, looking at these first two terms here, 2x squared plus 6x, if I factorize it, I can take 2x out, and I'll be left with x plus 3. And if you look at the second term, minus x minus 3, I can also factorize this by taking minus 1 out and x plus 3. So we'll be left with 2x, x plus 3, minus 1, x plus 3. And because they both have x plus 3, I can take that out and have x plus 3, and then in brackets, 2x minus 1. Let's look at another example. So there's 6x squared minus 11x minus 10. First thing, finding AC, 6 times minus 10 minus 60. Our b is minus 11, and we're to find a pair which will multiply to minus 60 and sum to minus 11. This is going to be minus 15 and 4. So once again, I can rewrite that as 6x squared minus 15x plus 4x minus 10. And now I go ahead and factorize each one. So I have 3x and then 2x minus 5 plus 2x and then 2x minus 5, and therefore I can get 3x plus 2 and then 2x minus 5 as my factorized form. Note, I can flip these middle ones around again and then factorize each individual one, but you should get the same answer. Right, a tip I do follow is when I have to factorize these kind of expressions, I do the same thing. So I find my AC and my B. So my AC is minus 60, my B is minus 11. And I go ahead and find a pair, so minus 15 and 4. So up to this stage it's the same. But whereas now you have to factorize it, what I do now is I divide each one by the original A term, which in this case was 6. So we get minus 15 over 6 and 4 over 6. I then simplify as much as possible, so I get minus 5 over 2 and 2 over 3. Now this actually we can factorize straight away because the denominators of each one will represent the coefficient of x and the numerators will represent the other term within the brackets. So this minus 5 over 2 will be equivalent to 2x minus 5, and the second one, 2 over 3, will be equivalent to 3x plus 2. That's my factorized form. So this is like a quick tip that you guys could follow but it's a quicker way of just factorizing it. So following this last step is 5x squared minus 16x plus 3. Once again, I find my AC and my B values. My AC is 15, my B is minus 16. So I find my two pairs, which can be minus 15 and minus 1. I divided by my A value, which was 5, so minus 15 over 5 and minus 1 over 5. And you simplify as much as possible, so minus 3 over 1 and minus 1 over 5. This can now be rewritten, so it's going to be this first term minus 3 over 1 will be x minus 3, and the second one minus 1 over 5 will be 5x minus 1. That's my factorized form. So this tip is very useful, but it just takes a lot of practice for you guys to get used to factorizing.